when Chernobyl exploded, everybody cared. Like it was a big boom, a lot of noise. If you're looking at climate change, it killed by now and kills yearly much more people than Chernobyl ever did. According to the World Health Association, 1 out of 7 people in the whole world die premature death directly resulting from pollution. So right now we're mostly focused on the European and the US markets because Europe is the most advanced in the world in terms of regulation, legislation, policies, supportive feed-in tariffs, grants for wave energy. And the United States also because of the significant wave energy potential, but also because the new government in the United States is very supportive of renewable energy, such as the Inflation Reduction Act that recently became a historic legislation, and new legislation for wave energy specifically that is going through the Senate right now in both New Jersey and in California. And we really believe that once we open the first power station in Los Angeles, which will probably become the first onshore or nearshore wave energy power station in the country, it will draw significant attention from policymakers, legislators, financial institutions, and any other kind of bodies that can assist the commercialization of wave energy. And we really believe that, what happens big in the United States happens big in other locations as well. So there's a big advantage in that as well. So these are the 2 key markets that we're focused at right now. But of course, as the company grows and as we reach more and more projects, we will also open to additional markets.
You're going to do it. You're going to do it at Alta Sea, right? I think Jenny who connected us, right?
Exactly. Yes. So we're going to do.
I'm excited to come. I'm going to come down there. I think there's a big event in October. I want to come down and see it. And I love, Jenny's awesome. We talked multiple times about just interesting things, and it seems like such a cool location that highlights the potential of our oceans. And I know that was passion for her. Is I want to create this to get people excited about the oceans. Because they're just so unexplored,
Definitely, both Terry and Jenny are doing a great job with the Alta Sea in the Port of Los Angeles. It's really great to see a hub that is fully focused on blue economy, because it's really like kind of an up and rising topic, not only for energy generation, but from ocean agriculture and for many other things that the ocean can give us. In the end of the day, 2/3 of the world population is living on the coastline. So definitely, there's a big room for kind of blue economy hubs, I think, everywhere in the world. And what Alta Sea is doing is inspirational. And we're very excited to have our first demonstration at Alta Sea in the Port of Los Angeles.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, I'm generally an optimist. And I think when it comes to climate, I have never seen more energy around it, which is good. But I just feel like we need to go much faster. Yeah, and like you said this earlier, when you look at things that are happening, especially in like Norway and Sweden, like we should be looking up to them in the US and really how to create a movement. And I feel like here we're just moving a little too slow. If you look at some of the initiatives, some of the companies I've talked to, when they have these grand ambitions for like 2030, like, okay, great, you have this target, but what is the work back plan? How do you know you're actually making progress towards that? And that's usually where things kind of fall short. Yeah. And so I think it requires, it requires more aggressive policy.
More aggressive policies, and somehow to make sure that the commitment of the previous government survives the next government or being continued by the next government. It's very similar to how Trump came to the United States and he canceled the US participation in the climate agreement of Paris. So he decided to pull out. So that's, for example, an example of how there were so many steps made towards it, and the US was, seen as a leader, and then it just pulled out from the agreement completely. So that's something that, we shouldn't be seen. I think that new governments, regardless of their views, should be respectful of policies of previous governments regarding the climate. I think it's very important. And one more thing that I would like to add is, I think the reason why there's a lot of discussions, but not a lot of necessarily, or not enough activity around really climate change and renewable energy implementation, is the fact that we really see kind of all these disasters, heat waves and so on, they're spread around. We see 2 days in the news that there are fires in Brazil, and then one day something happened in the United States and a heat wave in Europe. And it doesn't come with all the sound effects that people sometimes need to understand, like, wow, the situation is not good. Like, I'll go back to Chernobyl that we talked about in the beginning of the conversation. And, when Chernobyl exploded, it killed maybe collectively, like Ukraine is saying few tens of people, but probably few thousands people directly, from the pollution in the area. Everybody cared. Like, it was a big boom, a lot of noise, very long fire, the fire effects, were happening for a long, long time. And when people kept seeing it on the news day after day after day, like all the government sent financial aid, technical aids, robots, like everything was sent there to try and stop the pollution from Chernobyl from leaking out. If you're looking at climate change, it killed by now and kills yearly much more people than Chernobyl ever did. According to the World Health Association, 1 out of 7 people in the whole world die premature death directly resulting from pollution. It's huge amounts, it's like insane. Yet, because it does not come with a big boom, and the big fire effects, like people think it's not as serious, and that's kind of, I think, is the mistake. And when it will come with the big sound effects, maybe it will be too late.